Howdy kids, we have a couple exciting things going on today. First and foremost, I got a package. Now, that typically shouldn't be too exciting, and I don't really know why it is, but my brain has this weird way of whenever it is that I order something online, it somehow wipes it from my hard drive, and it allows me to receive the present as if I didn't know it was coming in the first place. So every single time I get a package delivered to me, I'm like, oh my God, you shouldn't have, that's so thoughtful. As far as what's in here, well, let's find out. Very serious packaging. Must mean it's something good. And in fact, I already know what it is, but it's kind of one of those deals where like, I'm still super excited every time something like this happens anyway. Alrighty, what we got here today? Oh yeah. Spunk Shad blowtorch. So what does this mean? Well, it means that if you're a bass that lives in Northern California, right now you're in the pre-spawn. And what that means is you're getting ready to spawn. So you're gonna start moving into the shallows and getting all fat and such. One day you're gonna be swimming on by and you're gonna be like, oh my God, look at that delicious red looking treat. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I better go eat that real quick. Well, good idea. So you're gonna go do that. You're gonna gobble it up. And little Mr. or Mrs. Bass, within 2 to 3 minutes of trying to gobble this up, you're about to meet your favorite YouTube star. That's right, Jason with a J. I'll pull you up, I'll say hi to you, maybe give you an autograph if you want one. I don't really know. I'll release you back. You'll tell your friends about me, I'll tell my friends about you, and we're all gonna have a really nice life. Isn't that exciting? One other housekeeping item for y'all. So as I said, I think it was 2 videos ago that we were gonna start launching videos on a Friday. And while that still is the goal, this week actually was kind of an interesting one. So not yesterday, but the Saturday before that, I was actually an officiant at a wedding, first time ever, yes, I'm a man of the cloth. That was down in Savannah, Georgia. So I did that for 2 of my old roommates. And then being in Savannah, my brother, sister-in-law, and the kiddos lived down in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I didn't realize at the time, and I wasn't really thinking about it, but they were only like a 4-hour drive away. So then I decided, well, if they're only 4 hours away, I'm just gonna go pay them a visit. And when I do go to visit them, I like to be present with them. The kids love hanging out with me, I love hanging out with them. And so at the end of the day, I was gonna produce a video for Friday, but it was gonna eat into family time. I didn't wanna do that, so now you get a video on Monday. Life happens, hopefully you can forgive me, but without further ado, we're gonna get into a little tier list. Things that society puts up with. Okay, boys and girls, we're about to start our little tier list. I did one, I think maybe 2 weeks ago or so, and it had pretty rave reviews. And I thought, you know what, it was pretty fun to make, so we're gonna make y'all another one. So the one that we're gonna be looking at today is a list of things that society puts up with. The way we're gonna rank them is from top to bottom. We start at the paper towel tier and it goes all the way down to F. So if you watched the last time I did this, paper towels was at the top of the list. So we're gonna keep that as sort of a running joke, an Easter egg, I don't know what you'd call it. We're gonna have that as the very top of every single tier list until something else is better than paper towels. If we find something better than paper towels, it goes up into that tier and it becomes the new tier. Hope that isn't too confusing. So again, paper towels at the top, F is at the bottom. The way that I'm going to rank them is basically if it's something that I think is actually a good thing, or it doesn't really cause me too much stress and anxiety, it's gonna show up toward the top of the list. If it's something that I absolutely hate, she's gonna go down into the basement. And not in a creepy, like it puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again, like Buffalo Bill type shit. I'm just talking about like, you know, the figurative basement here. So we're gonna start off here with cracked phone screens, or really putting up with cracked phone screens for extended periods of time. Now, I don't really know why people do this outside of, I guess, maybe they don't have the money to fix it or it's pure laziness. But to me, this one's kind of awesome because it's sort of a social stratification. It really helps us separate the wheat from the chaff, or chaff, I think it's chaff. Anyway, it's basically like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts badge of like, hey everybody, I'm a clown, you should treat me as such. And this one I really do like it because I do think it's helpful and it doesn't really affect me. I mean, I do crack phone screens, don't get me wrong, but I do generally get them fixed. It's not the end of the world. You know, you take it to the iPhone store for me because I have an Apple product. You fix it for like $100, is what it is. We're gonna go S tier with that one. Now this next spicy little number is the cost of higher education. Now, this to me is one of the craziest things we have going in the United States of America. It's kind of like a Ponzi scheme. Like the fact that school costs so much in the United States and you can't really get jobs without degrees, but being honest, you know, having gone to school myself, I mean, I did learn some stuff, but it was really more problem solving than anything else. And I partied quite a bit and played a lot of Frisbee. So at the end of the day, I don't think it should cost as much money as it does. It is great in the formative years to be hanging out with people who are around the same age and same kind of phase of life as you are. But this one's pretty bogus. So you know what? School is great. Its cost is not. C tier. Ooh. Okay, so this next one. So expensive parking tickets or unreasonably priced parking tickets. Now, don't get me wrong, I get why this happens, and it's because most of the cities are really poorly run, but I don't really think that with its already really high cost tag or price for living in a city where gas is more expensive, groceries are more expensive, and pretty much everything is so much more a pain in the ass than living somewhere out in the suburbs, and you get so much less space to live. And now you park your car in a spot where like they decide they're gonna do street cleaning and now all of a sudden you get a ticket. Or like you're parked in a spot that you think is the right spot, but you're not really sure because they have like 27 different signs that all point in different directions. This one is so incredibly bogus. And if it weren't for the fact that there are other things on this list that I hate more than this, it would show up in the F tier, but for now we're just gonna throw it into the D tier and move on before I get too pissed off talking about it. Now this next one, fine print and contracts. So I don't really know how we got to a point where fine print and contracts is an acceptable thing. And I mean, I guess again, like it's one of those, like I do understand how it could have come to be, but I mean, at the end of the day, like this is one of those, like somebody dropped the ball years and years ago. They allowed fine print to remain in contracts and no one ever picked up the ball. So shame on all of us. This one, I mean, again, I hate it, but D tier, because there are some rat bastards on this list, let me tell you. Now this next one, it's actually an icon that you saw in one of the last ones. I created a different icon for this and it wouldn't load for whatever reason, but that's neither here nor there. So this one here is unreasonably priced coffee. Now, I don't drink coffee all that often, and so it doesn't really affect me all that much, so it's gonna be somewhere north of C probably in this tier list. But I mean, like $5, $6 for a cup of coffee is the most outrageous thing ever because coffee beans, it just doesn't cost all that much money. The only saving grace for this is there's something psychological about I just paid a bunch of money for this coffee where it makes me feel all fancy and better than everybody else. So for that reason, we're gonna slap her into the old B tier. Now this next one, standing in line for the hot new like brunch spots or breakfast areas. This one pisses me off to absolutely no end. Like, I will not do it here nor there. I will not do it anywhere. I will not stand in a line for eggs Benny and really fancy ham. I will not do it Sam I Am. This one is, like, I know I'm kind of smiling because like I know people do this and it just blows my fucking mind every single time they do. Like waiting an hour to an hour and a half just to get breakfast that's really unreasonably priced just to say that you went there. Like how is it that this is a badge of honor in our society? Like it blows my mind. I don't really do it all that much, but even though I don't, it still just pisses me off beyond belief. This one, welcome to the F tier, buddy. Now, this next one, oh my God, like I'm already in such a bad mood just thinking about it. Okay, so this next one, like I'm like beside myself even thinking about it. And it's one of those things that like I don't even want to put on a list because like I don't want to be negative to y'all. I want this to be like the light that shines through, but I do think that misery does love company, and I did just fly back from somewhere, and I gotta say, one of my least favorite things on the planet is the shit that happens at airlines. So this one represents Airline Shenanigans. And I'm talking everything from like, you go to book a flight and all the prices are there, but they all have different rules. You know what I mean? So like some of them, yeah, it's $400 and all the rest are $700, but then you have to pay a separate amount to even pick a seat. You have to pay for bags like a purse or a backpack when you carry it on. You have to pay for your carry-ons. Like, and you have to pay for each one. Like I'm talking like Frontier, is that the one? Frontier, and there's another one, Spirit Airlines, yeah. Frontier and Spirit. Apparently they just merged as like the shittiest airline. So two of the shittiest airlines, powers combined to make what, the ultimate shittiest airline? And like their planes seem like they're gonna fall apart. So like, I don't want you to be worried if you're flying one of these because I'm sure they're fine, but like, I'll tell you what, they rattle like nothing else. And it is not about Spirit or Frontier. And by the way, I do want to say Southwest Airlines does it better than anyone, and it's not even close. And in fact, Southwest Airlines like almost isn't even an airline. I mean, I know it technically is an airline, but the customer service there is not akin to any of the other ones. So Southwest, bless your hearts, I love you. Everybody else, you're just such a steaming pile of shit. Like, at this point in time, you can't even really get food on these things. The aisle seats are the best, but then the people keep coming up and down with carts, so you can't even really sleep. The little air conditioning knobs, like they barely blow air on you. You still have to wear masks, which like, I don't even want to really get into all that, but like they say it's a federal rule. Like, is that even true? I mean, you don't really have to wear them in the airports. And then, okay, so the other thing, a lot of people have peanut allergies, and peanuts is like the only thing you serve on flights. Like, how the fuck does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. That's how. And then like the rules of checking in. So like I go to change my flight, and because I booked it through a third party, I could not contact Delta, which is what I flew today, directly. But then at a certain point, Delta then takes the ticket back, so then you have to call them to do anything. They have a waiting line that's like 2 hours long, so you can't even really cancel your flight if it's last minute and you have an emergency. These dudes are organized crime in the United States. They're, in my opinion, up there with like Pablo Escobar because they're operating just in broad daylight. And that's not to say that they're like doing as heinous things as Pablo Escobar did, but like honestly, at the scale they're doing it at, these dudes are criminals. They should all be shut down immediately except for Southwest Airlines. You guys, there should be a new tier, but I don't even like it enough to create a new tier because it's a little bit of work that I gotta do. It's not even that hard, but this one is just, Moving on. This next one to put me in a slightly better mood. So this one's cleaning out the lint trap. And this one is kind of an interesting deal. So like, as far as I know, there are no like self-cleaning lint trap apparatuses out there. Apparatuses, I don't know. But the plural of apparatus, like do you ever have that? Like the plural of certain words like moose. One moose, two moose. What? Like fish makes, anyway. So it should be moosin', by the way. That's what I've determined. One moose, two moosin'. That's how it should be. So anyway, cleaning out the lint trap. It's not really all that bad. And in fact, it gives me like this really bogus sense of accomplishment. Like you're checking off things in your list and like, you know, whether you do it right before you put the clothes in, or I mean, if you're a superstar and you do it right after you take the clothes out of the dryer, I mean, you get a gold star for the day. So for as happy as this one makes me, S tier. And I'm glad that I chased the airlines with the lint trap. That wasn't on purpose, but that got the shit taste out of my mouth and I don't want to get negative again. So we're gonna go back to lint traps. Lint traps, thank you so much. Love you, buddy. And as a side note, I was talking to somebody about this the other day and apparently people make like art out of lint. I don't know what it's called, but like, you know, you go in there with like needle point or something. Like, I'm not really sure, but people make little like bunnies and shit, which is hella cute. This next one is kind of an interesting deal. Like, and I don't even really know what to call it, but like being too old to use wipes for the bathroom without there being like some social stigma or taboo around it. Because whenever you buy them, like I've never seen a brand that's marketed to me like, hey, these are adult wipes, so you're not like rubbing brownie mix out of a carpet. This is really one where like, again, nothing ever really speaks to me. So I pick up the baby wipes and I always feel weird about it. Like if anybody asks me, I almost feel like lying and telling them that I have a child at home, even though I don't. So I don't really love it. And I don't think that we should be too old to use them, but I do love baby wipes. Yes, I don't know. I mean, this one I guess is a C because it doesn't really affect me because I don't really care what most people think when I'm in a store, but like, it does leave me feeling a little awkward, so C tier is where it's gonna be. This next one. So this next one represents inflation. And thinking through this one, I wanted to give it an F tier. And I wanted to actually, I mean, this one, if this one and Airline Shenanigans had a baby, the world would end because that baby would take us all down. But basically, inflation is a bad mamma jamma, but being the silver lining finder that I am, realized that there are a couple different areas where inflation's actually a good thing. So when you're going to the pool and you're blowing up the little like floaties and stuff or rafts, inflation's really good there. Or I like to bike. I like to road bike. I have a Peloton, not that I have to inflate anything there, but inflation of tires, I do drive a car. So with that, airplanes, like everything with tires, inflation's actually pretty good. So if it weren't for those things, this salty son of a bitch would probably have renamed the F tier because inflation, it just pisses me off. And tonight in California, I paid almost $6. Almost $6 for a gallon of gas. Like per gallon, almost $6. Completely outrageous. D tier. Get out of my face. This next one, this is another kind of interesting deal. And you're gonna see a lot of stuff showing up at the bottom of this list because when I originally thought about it, I'm like, man, there's a lot of shitty stuff that we have to put up with. But I did try and balance it with some nicer stuff that I do actually enjoy. But this next one here, these little plastic utensil looking dudes, or I guess they're just called plastic utensils, but basically the plastic utensils represents getting delivery food and not receiving utensils. And this one typically wouldn't be such a big deal for me, except for when I order sushi, which is one of the only things that I really get from delivery restaurants. And when you don't get chopsticks, and no, I know what you're gonna say, Jason, buy your own chopsticks, but I don't really eat sushi enough to justify buying chopsticks. And even when I do buy chopsticks, then I run out, and it's not something I ever think to buy again. So chopsticks are the one thing that I always want with my delivery. And sometimes like you'll order like a Diet Coke or something. I know, yeah, it's not good for you, but whatever, I drink it. It is what it is. And sometimes I don't get that either. So sometimes I don't get that either. I don't get it either. So this one right here, sorry buddy, D tier. There's a lot of, I'll tell you, we as society put up with a lot of bullshit, my dudes and dudettes. I don't like it, but you know what? We need to talk about it because maybe that'll help us get through it. Okay, so this next one is another nasty one. So this is clickbait. And I mean, I understand why clickbait exists because I get that people have shorter attention spans and if people click on things, they get ad revenue. But that whole model is so upside down, it's unbelievable. So like clickbait, and I don't even understand how clickbait is legal. Like, how is it legal to say something that just isn't true and you click on it and you're like, what? Like, this is the most bullshit thing I've ever seen. I don't do it on my channel, but I have clicked on other people's channels because it's like, they'll have a thumbnail or they'll have a title that falsely misrepresents what's going on. You click on it and you end up wasting time. Like, how is it legal for you to waste my time like that? Like, there should be a rule where you vote on whether or not it's clickbait, because I was thinking about this and I'm like, how would you regulate something? And I don't want the government to be regulating it because they already regulate themselves into just stupidity. But basically, if like more than 25% of people think something is clickbait, it should immediately get removed or like a cease and desist or some shit. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a guy who wears fishing gear and likes to make YouTube videos. Basically, clickbait, fuck you, F tier, get out of my life. What's next spicy little number? So this one represents balancing comfort and fashion when buying clothes. Now this one I actually do really love because it is something that's very challenging, but when you get it right, whoo, oh baby, yow! So like this shirt here, okay? It's Columbia PFG, Performance Fishing Gear. And I'll tell you, like, I don't think a more comfortable shirt has ever been made. I mean, it fits so beautifully. It keeps the sun off me. I do like to fish. The fish can't really see it all that well. And this one's sort of like a fishy camo-y pattern. I'm not really sure, but these things, super breathable, keep the sun off you, keep you cool, sometimes keep you warm, depending on, you know, what you're trying to do. But mostly these keep me cool because I'm usually wearing them when it's really sunny and hot outside. But yeah, I mean, society judges you by what you wear. And if you could find something that is both highly functional and fashionable, absolutely love it. I mean, absolutely tremendous. And I'll tell you what, I kind of want to put this in the S tier, but I'm going to put it in the A tier because there's nothing in the A tier. And I feel like it's good enough that it should kind of sit by itself. So I don't know, maybe breaking the rules, but whatever, this is my tier list. That's how it's going to be today. Last but not least. So this one here is actually a really interesting one. And it's keeping up with all the latest slang. So if you've known me at all, and as you're getting to know me on YouTube, I really love picking up little things from different parts of the country that I get to say. So I lived in the Northeast for a little while. Well, I mean, I lived in the Northeast most of my life being from Pennsylvania, but I lived in Hartford, Connecticut, or really West Hartford, Connecticut, and that's where I learned wicked. And I think wicked's super cool. So then when I was in Philly, you learn all sorts of different stuff, but John is one of the best words there ever was. And John, this isn't a video about the word John, maybe we'll make one about John, but like, John is a word that has such utility, sort of like hella does out on the West Coast, which I also say. And then when I went to college, I learned about chirp from, I think, the hockey team, or maybe the field hockey team. But either way, that's like a kind of Midwest hockey-y kind of thing, or maybe it's not, but either way, they're the ones who say it the most, so I'm gonna give it to them. So congratulations, people who play hockey in any form, chirp is yours. So, and I do love it, so I'm gonna borrow it. But basically, like, keeping up with slang is such an interesting thing because all the kids are saying it. I was just hanging out with my 10-year-old nephew, and shout out to Braden, and also his sisters Peyton and Evelyn, love you guys. But basically, keeping up with slang is such a hard thing to do. And I was talking to one of my buddies who happens to be 24, I think. And I'm actually gonna read for you what he said because I didn't understand any of it except for one word. And he said, "Slick lit fam, that John was bussin'." Now, you probably know what that means or some part of that. I only know what the word John means. I know that John was, and that's pretty much it. Now, fam, you know, family, I think I kind of get that one, but yeah, like he said a sentence and I understood only half the words. And that's how it goes. So what we're going to actually do is we're gonna have a series of shorts, might be kicked off by a longer video, but basically this one here, keeping up with all the latest slang, we're gonna do a series on this one. I think it's gonna be super fun. I'm gonna try and guess as to what some slang terms mean. I'm gonna get some context clues, see if my opinion changes. Then I'm gonna define it for y'all and use it in a sentence. So you youngsters, you can laugh at all of us old assholes who don't know what you're talking about. All of us old assholes who are not really assholes, but the kids think we are. You're gonna get to learn what everyone's talking about and choose to use them or not. But either way, we're all gonna be on the same page, which I think is an amazing thing and, you know, maybe one of the pillars of the channel. So learning the newest, coolest lingo of the day, S tier. So again, gang, sorry that this video is coming to you a little late, but again, was a super fun one to make. I hope you enjoy the content and I hope you're back around for the next one. And also look out for the series on slang. We're gonna be doing that. I don't know if we're gonna do it Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or what days we're gonna do it, but we're gonna start doing YouTube shorts. Might even do some stuff for TikTok. I don't really know. I know that one's for the kids as well, but I do think getting exposure to the channel is always a good time. So if you like this video and you're not already, please subscribe. If this is your first time here, welcome. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Wow, that was really hard to say. I don't know why. I say it in every video and I say it to everybody I meet, but whatever. Smash the like button, hit the notification bell, get notified when these videos drop, which is going to be every Friday. So until I see you next time, have yourself a really great day, a really great weekend. Whenever you're getting this video, love you. Peace.